promised you from my last video where I did my 5-minute morning skincare and cosmetic routine, that I would come back and show you my evening routine when I clean everything off and treat my mature skin. So that is what I'm gonna do today. And I wanna point out that I actually have sort of 2 versions of this routine. And so I'll walk you through each of those so that you can see what I do on like even and odd days. So first, I want to show you like my basic skincare routine for the evenings. And just like in the mornings, I don't really spend a lot of time on these processes. I'm not one who loves to go get my nails done and sit in a chair and have my hair done for 3 hours or whatever. I am kind of like, let's get down to business, let's take care of what we're here to do. And so I am I'm all about like most bang for the buck. How can we do this in a 5-minute fashion and just get the results that we want? So I did this weekend, or over last weekend, I did a leave-on peel that is for sun damage. And I'll talk more about that in another email or video, but I don't like to share too soon when I try something new because I want to make sure that it's something that is worth promoting. But I do think that my spots lightened a little bit more, so that's exciting. So let me take you through a typical like basic skincare in the evening. I start with the Beauty Counter. This is from the Counter Time collection. So this is for mature skin. This is when you're working on pores and lines and hyperpigmentation, aging, that kind of thing. So this is the cleansing oil, and a lot of people are hesitant to use an oil to cleanse the skin, especially if they feel like they have oily skin, which is a valid concern. But I want to point out that a lot of times it's not going to make your skin oilier or do anything that's going to cause or promote breakouts. It's just a nice moisturizing way to cleanse the skin. So I'm going to turn on my sink here. Just use a couple of pumps of this to get it a little bit damp under the water. And what happens is it'll get kind of milky, so this is not going to foam, but it'll get like a milky finish on the skin, which you can see. But it's a really, the fragrance, by the way, which is of course completely naturally derived, is heavenly. It's very light and it just feels so good on. So I'm gonna rinse that off. That's our first step always, is to clean the skin. So always want to, first step with any skincare routine is cleanse. And then the next step is prep. So I want to point out a little bit. Makeup on. There's some redness. I did from the peel last weekend. I have a little redness here because I also did the micro roller. So I did kind of irritate that area. I do feel like these little spots are lightening up. This is some sun damage that I think is about to fall off, which is gross, but here to share. So, okay, so that was step 1. Step 2, then in the Counter Time routine, is the Hydrating Essence. And this is considered the prep after the clean. So the essence, you just put a little bit in your hand. This actually prepares the skin to take on the treat step. So the treat step is what you're gonna do that has the active ingredients. So if you're treating acne with the counter control line, if you're doing anti-aging, this is what prepares the skin to then take on the active products or the active ingredients in the products. So the essence just goes on like this. You leave it on the skin. I usually give it just a second to dry a little. It doesn't need to be completely dried out. It won't be dried out because that's not what this product does. But I just kind of leave it on, let it soak in a little bit, and then the next step is treat, the treat step. The treat step is gonna be your serum, your, I'll show you, the resurfacing peel, the serum. It's any of the things that have the active ingredients that really get in and go after whatever your skincare goals are. So depending on which line you're using, that's gonna be your next step. So if I'm just doing an evening where I do the counter time protocol, which is what we're doing right now, I'm gonna do the serum next. I just take a pump, kind of get that in the skin. And this has the bakuchiol and the Swiss Alpine Rose, and it really helps further skin damage, pore size, and I have to say, the pores on my nose and through here are definitely, they've gotten a lot better. You know, that's something that as a younger version of me did not deal with. But in my 40s, I definitely notice pore size tends to kind of open up more. So I do think that between sun damage, fine lines, and pore size, this is helping all of that. And just kind of skin tone, evenness, tautness. This line is fantastic. And then the next step after we do, so we've done wash, prep, treat, the last step is the moisturize. So it's the protect. And I use, again from the line, this is the Counter Time Soft Cream. There is a heavier cream, the Supreme Cream, that comes with this line. If you have one, especially dry skin, or live in a northern climate where winter is brutal. I don't need that one. And so although I love the feeling of it, it's a little too heavy for me. And so I stick with the soft cream. So I'm gonna just do a pump of that. Get that on. And then the last step, that is the last step actually. But if you want a little bit extra, as I tend to, this is the eye cream from that line. Now, I do use it around my eyes, but in addition to that, I also use it on my forehead lines. So as I've discussed before, I don't use Botox because I have autoimmune disease, and I have tried it before in the past, early on in my diagnosis. I did Botox twice in my early 30s, and I did not have a reaction to it in particular. But as I've gotten older and more cautious in some ways about what I'm putting into my body, so I'm careful with, toxic products for skincare, I'm careful with diet. As I take those precautions, I also made the decision that for me, it is not particularly a decision that I want to say yes to when it comes to neurotoxins. So that is a personal decision, and it is, it certainly works. I could erase all of the lines on my forehead and that would be fun, but that's not a decision that I want to say yes to. So I have lines on my forehead. I'm 44 years old. It's fine. This is a normal process. But I find that the eye cream along with forehead tape. So forehead taping, get a lot of questions. This has been part of my routine for many years now. Before The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel came out, I would just like to make note of that. This is what I use for forehead taping. Now, it might be hard for you to see. This actually has little holes in it. It's perforated, and so I actually need to rewind this step. On a typical night, I would put this on, and so this is, see my number one there, that's my most intense line on my forehead. So while I sleep, I put this guy on. Now, you can also use it for other lines. These are pretty intense there. So you can tape anywhere. I just want to smooth the skin. You can tape anywhere on your face. I don't recommend taping around the eyes just because the skin is very delicate, and you know, this does have adhesive on it. But this is what I do in the evenings. And I actually do this before I moisturize. But here's how it works. So I smooth out the lines that I want so that when I'm sleeping I can't, you know, scrunch up my face. And then I would come in with my soft cream or my eye cream, and I actually put it over the tape because it has the perforations. The product sinks through while it's pulled taut, and then I go to sleep. It's a good look. My husband loves it. He actually doesn't care. But anyway, this is how I would sleep. The next morning, I do get questions sometimes about what happens if there's residue from the tape, so I would take it off in the morning. Occasionally there's residue, but really I haven't had much of an issue with it. And what I do then is I actually go back to this, which is the cleansing oil, and I just use a little bit, and the oil will help lift the residue, and then you can just use a washcloth or whatever you need to clean that off. Okay, so that was wash, prep, treat with the serum, tape, and then moisturize with either of these. Okay, so that's a standard night. Now, what if we're going to do the new products that I mentioned, which include the